Hello, everyone. This is Rosanna, Bright and Dusty here on YouTube, and I am back for my next flip through video. Last time I did a fantasy theme, and people really seemed to enjoy that, so I decided to do another theme. This is totally different. Um, this is going to be a farm and country theme. So, this is my channel all about cross stitching, and this is a flip through video where I discuss patterns, kits, books, magazines that I have. Um, and I pulled a lot of stuff around this theme of the farm. So if you don't like haul videos, you're really not going to enjoy this. So I will catch you in my next floss tube. But if you are interested in seeing some of these country style patterns, I hope you'll stick around. This is kind of the vibe I'm going for here. This Janlin kit, which is called Bucks County Farm Stand. I had purchased this kit on Amazon a couple months ago when it was on sale, and I think it is so beautiful and colorful. I haven't started it yet. Obviously, it's a huge project and a ton of back stitching, but someday I will be stitching this. I've actually seen this as a whip on, I believe it is Stitching Shan. That's a YouTube channel, and she has this as an active whip, and she actually has pretty good progress on it. So if you're interested in seeing what it looks like in progress, I would check out her channel. It was probably a few videos back that she talked about it. But anyway, this is the vibe. um, and just like a little bit of backstory, here is one like farm themed cross stitch that I actually have finished. This is Shakespeare's Peddler, and it's called And Stripes. So I finished this one last summer, and I absolutely love it. I think it turned out amazing. Um, I love this barn, and I'm not totally sure why I am drawn so much to these barn patterns and farm patterns, but I did grow up in a very remote area of central Pennsylvania, out in the country, kind of against my will, I guess. Most things when you're a child are against your will, but I did grow up in a rural area. So I find that when it comes to cross stitch, I do have a lot of nostalgia for this type of thing. Um, Even though in other areas of my life, I don't really have a lot of nostalgia for the country, but yeah, I really enjoyed stitching this. And okay, so why don't I just get into some of the things that I pulled. I'll show a couple of books first. And I'm not going to show the whole book because the whole book isn't really relevant to the theme. But this is Donna Cooler's 555 cross stitch designs for the young at heart. And one of the patterns that is included in here is Old MacDonald's Farm. And I absolutely love this design. It's so detailed and colorful. And that barn is just so cute. So this would be a really big project. And I think if I wanted to actually stitch it, I would have to set aside 6 months of my life working on this pretty much exclusively to get it done. So I haven't really contemplated doing that for real. yet, but I do like that I have this book and the pattern is in here. These books are really nice with the full color symbols, and the symbols are really big. And I do know that for this one, you can get it on the Cooler Design Studio website as a download. Um, but yeah, this is just so sweet. Another book that I have with a farm pattern that I really like is this book. It's called Beyond the Garden Gate. This is a Ledger Arts book. And the one I'm going to show is actually a set, a seasonal set. Let me try to get the glare out of here. So first of all, you got that one up there with the chickadee, the winter one. And you can see there's like a farmhouse in the background here. And I am very tempted to do this one in the winter season. They have a lot of other in the same series. This one is the spring one. And then here is the summer one with the ducks. And this fall one is gorgeous with all the colors. And you've got some fall vegetables in the corner and some corn. So I really like that one. I think my favorite is the winter, and then second favorite would be the autumn. But yeah, those are, I think, yeah, this is another book where it's all color, like big symbols. So it's well put together. It's a nice book. And I think this might be the last book I have. The rest, I do have like a lot of magazines that I pulled and some standalone leaflets, but I do think this is the last book. Gifts of Nature by Marie Barber. This is a series of book called An American Sampler, I think, because I think I have a couple of other ones in this same series. And on the side here it says Meredith Press. So I think this one's probably from the 90s. Yeah, 1995. And here is the first one I wanted to bring up because I would say that she's a farm girl carrying the basket and all the harvest fruits. The colors in this are spectacular. That is a lot of really dense stitching, but the finished product would be amazing. And yeah, this book, I think these symbols are computer generated. And they're in color. The colors aren't differentiated all that well. It's like all the yellows are basically the same yellow with a different symbol, which is a little bit confusing, but I mean, it's fine. It doesn't really bother me. And I think there were a couple others in here. Yeah, this is like an apple harvest. Tons of detail in there. And probably should have put, yeah, that's like the olive oils and the fruits, similar to the other ones where the colors really pop. But I feel like there was explicitly a farm one that I wanted to show. Um, oh yeah, I think it was this one. So harvest vegetables again. And then at the bottom, this band at the bottom has like a horse pulling some hay and some people. And the nice thing about these books is you could just pull out the parts that you like instead of doing the entire sampler. And then there's this one, which is more of like a garden theme. But those cabbages are really beautiful. And the border is sweet peas. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of sort of like country style patterns in this particular book. Okay, so moving on to some of the magazines. I have 3 of these issues of cross country stitching, which you can tell from the title has a lot of country and farm themed stuff in them, just as a general rule. This is an older publication that I think was mostly active in the 90s, but this is like from June 2012, so they were still publishing up into the, early 2000s. Um, I have seen cross country stitching, I believe, is the same as Jeremiah Junction. And I have a couple of finished Jeremiah Junction cross stitches that I've found thrifting, and I've shown them in previous Flosstube videos, and they are absolutely beautiful. Um, there's something about them that just I find very striking. So I don't know. Like this strawberry pattern that's on the cover here is really cute. Strawberry shortcake. And I know in the month of June, I think it is, a lot of people do some strawberry stitching, and this would be a really good one. If I was going to do it, I would just do the top part here and save myself some time. But I love all of the red. It is so vibrant and pretty. This is another really fun one. They just call it the Country Sampler, but it has all these cute animals in it, like geese, dog, owl, squirrel. And then at the bottom, there are cats. So these designs are really dense. Like there's a lot going on, but it just makes them really fun to look at. Yeah, and if you look at like the patterns, they all say copyright Jeremiah Junction. So I think Jeremiah Junction is like the same thing as cross country stitching. Um, the other one I love, this is called Stitching Room. And Thread and Yarn Gatherer. So this is a stitching themed pattern, but I love it because it has all of these birds. Yeah, it's got like 3 or 4 birds. It has a bunch of pin cushions, a lot of spools of thread. It has like a beehive over on the left hand side. And this is just a really fun, like, stitching theme pattern. I don't know. I love it. Uh, This one also had this cow teapot. Like, wow. And the other thing were these cute cupcakes. Again, just like really colorful and fun. So this is a really nice issue of this particular magazine. I pulled two other patterns. This issue is December 1994, so this is much older. But there is this like stitching Christmas tree in here with all the different, it's got scissors, spools of thread, samplers, and down here it actually has like a three-dimensional component where you like attach thread to make it look like skeins of DMC. So that is really, really cute. And I don't think I've ever seen like a stitching tree before. This one's February 1995. So another one that's on the older side. I just wanted to show like every issue of this magazine pretty much has something along these lines. A really dense, colorful pattern that is some kind of like room in a country farmhouse. This is what I thought was the prettiest one out of all the ones that I have, and it has a cat. I like anything that has these little cows, like on a roller skates or stand or whatever. So, yeah, and this is pretty similar to the Christmas one that I had found thrifting. I'll try to put a picture in here of that. And in person, it just looks amazing. I love it. Okay, so that was cross-country stitching. I know that's not to everyone's taste, but I don't know. I thought some of the patterns in those are pretty neat. So here is an issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine, July, August 2011. You can see the date down here. This issue has an absolutely incredible rooster in it. So this rooster is called the French Rooster. Well, the French Rooster number 2. And then it says down here that it's designed by Sharon Pope. But wow, that's an amazing rooster. And the border around the rooster is equally amazing. So yeah, I think that was it for this magazine as far as like farm stuff. As you can see, this is like the Christmas ornament preview. So yeah, I think most of the stuff in here is kind of Christmassy. Okay, now I'm going to go through some standalone patterns. A lot of these I got at an estate sale. Clearly the stitcher had a preference for some of these country style stitches. So I have quite a few of them. I'll go through them pretty quickly. This is Raspberry Patch Design Studio, and it's a barn. And the reason I am definitely going to stitch this one is because I also got all of the buttons that you need to complete the design. So that was really exciting just to have them already in the packaging. And it's really cute too. And it doesn't look like it would take all that long to stitch. So if you're curious, the name of the pattern is A Little Bit of Christmas. Um, I have several of these dimensions standalone leaflets. This is one of them. It's called Snowy Sunday by Koenig up here. Um, so this is a full coverage. A lot of stitching. I do like the design and I like the colors. I like that this is a winter one where it's not 95% white stitching because you've got a lot of browns and greens in there too. So that's really nice. This is called Baskets by Diane Arthurs. So that's Imaginating is the company. So these baskets are pretty self-explanatory. I do like the muted color palette of this. And there are strawberries here as well for some strawberry stitching. Then I have several of these that are by Linda Myers. They're all very similar in style. This one's called The Country Kitchen. I do like this one because the house that I grew up in out in the country, we did have one of these antique stoves, which was functional. My mom would use it. um, so it's kind of cool to me to see that depicted in cross stitch. This would be a very big project, but the design is really nice. This is another one, also by Linda Myers, and it's called Victorian Quilt Show. So this one has a lot of detail. Again, this is full coverage. This would be a giant project. All the quilts are really beautiful out front. Oh, and there's a gazebo. That's nice. Here's another one, Linda Myers, Cottage Quilts. This one has a quilt border, which is very detailed. Yeah, that's really beautiful. I think this might be the last Linda Myers one. It's called Country Parlor. And yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Then I have several similar ones, except these are a different designer. These are excuse me, Diane Phelan. This is Stitch World brand. And this is a really colorful farm. Once again, it looks like this is full coverage, except for maybe a little bit in the clouds. So another really big project here. This one is also by Diane Phelan, and it's called Log Cabin Quilts. This is another Stitch World leaflet. So, yeah, all these like quilt cross-stitch designs. As you can see, there was a pretty big stack of them in this lot I got from an estate sale. And I think this is the last one by Diane Phelan, and it is called September Gold. You can see up at the top. And this looks like more autumny because of the sunflowers and the apples. So it's cute. This one is an X's and O's, and it's called Line Gallery. And I've noticed that X's and O's doesn't really have the greatest cover photos. This one seems a little bit distorted to me, but you get the general idea. It's a lot of quilts and people hanging up quilts. Okay, so this is a different vibe. This is The Beekeeper's Cottage by Elizabeth Designs. I really like this one. Yeah, I just kind of picked it because it's like a bee farm. And there's a lot of beehives and it's very cute. And it looks like, yeah, you'd have to track down some metal charms to embellish it, but this is a leisure arts leaflet and it's called With Hearts of Thanksgiving. The designer is Donna Moses. And as you can see, this is a farm. And it's actually really sweet. I do love that barn. Um, I would maybe just stitch the barn by itself and the silo. And there's like a little cow here, which I love. I love that part. But yeah, the animals are really sweet in this one. And this one is based on a painting by Grandma Moses. And the original painting is called Hoosick River Summer. So someone charted it out. As you can see, it is huge. Um, I would not want to tackle this one personally just because it is so large and most of it looks like is like grass. So that just seems like it would be very time consuming. But this is designs by Gloria and Pat. Um, so that was that. Here is one from the Cricut collection. It is called Sheepy Hollow. And it is these sheep standing on top of each other, sort of like a Christmas tree almost. I don't know. These are so cute. And there's also one with kind of a little thatch roof farmhouse and some sheep around it. Really sweet. So, yeah, I like the Cricut collection a lot. I don't have a ton of their patterns, but the ones I do have, I really like. These are the Victoria Sampler Farms. This is the Ravenhill Herb sampler. All of these have a lot of specialty stitches, so I think they would be pretty time consuming, but they are beautiful. This one has a barn at the bottom. Really cute. And then I have a few others in the same series. This is Old MacDonald's Farm. So a similar idea with the band sampler and specialty stitches. But definitely fits in with the theme today. I love all the little details in these. This middle band with the horse, there's those little mallard ducks flying around. They're so tiny, but you can definitely tell they're mallard ducks. That's really, really cute. This one might be my favorite out of the ones that I have. It's called the Strawberry Fields Farm. I have been considering starting this for a while. I haven't gotten around to it yet. And again, I'm a little intimidated by the specialty stitches. But I absolutely love all these strawberries. It's really beautiful. And then the last one I pulled is the Jingle Bells Christmas Tree Farm. So this is a lot of trees, obviously, a lot of snow, but you do get cute animals. There is a reindeer, and then at the bottom there is a horse and sled and a dog and a little snowman. And there is even a squirrel and a couple of cardinals. So I like this one because it's a winter farm, which is a little bit different than most of the stuff I've shown for the theme. All right, here's a random pattern book. It's called A Christmas Medley by Canterbury Designs. I pulled it because, for one thing, this cat with the little gate definitely seems like a barn gate to me. Um, very cute. The rest of the stuff is kind of like teddy bears, things of that nature. And then on the back, there is included these pigs. So the pigs are eating corn, and they are really, really adorable. This one I had found thrifting, and it's called Crates and Sacks 4. The brand is Country Cross Stitch, you can see down here. And I was struck by how detailed these like advertisement style designs are. I really like the Daisy brand flower one with the barn in the background. And then there's one for sugar and there's one for coffee. And this one up here, sunflower lard. Um, that one's also really cute. But these seemed a little bit more like of a modern style to me, even though I think this booklet is pretty old. But I could definitely see people stitching like the Daisy Brown Flower one today. Here are a couple of Charles Wysocki. So these are Dimensions standalone patterns. This one's called My Hometown Book 1. And this is called the Fox Hill Farm, I believe. And yeah, Charles Wysocki, you know, we all know what those patterns look like. There's the haberdashery. And then the other one I have is the Four Seasons Book 5, also a Dimensions pattern. And these, I have seen these stitched. I saw them at an antique mall. I didn't buy them, but seeing them in person, they were very, very pretty. The colors on these are really lovely to look at. My favorite one, I think, is the pumpkin patch down here. But okay, that's all of the Charles Wysocki I have. Here is a Stony Creek. It's called Blue Ribbon Winners. So there's kind of a lot of different stuff in here. The reason I picked it is because it does have some pigs and cows and a rooster. And then also like some corn and peas and stuff. So there's a rooster with the son, the mom cow and the baby cow. And then those pigs look like they're getting into some mischief. Some chickens. So pretty typical Stony Creek style there. And then I just have 4 like told in a garden. I'll just kind of go through them rapid fire, but this one's the grandmother's house. And then here is the companion, the grandfather's house. So these are by Marilyn Levitt Emblem, the same designer of all the lavender and lace patterns. So there's these. I am not partial to the ones that have like a lot of people in them. The ones I prefer are actually like, this one, the Raspberry Homecoming, I really like. But I would only stitch the barn part. And I have seen this finished when I was at a yard sale last summer. Someone was selling a finished one that their grandma had made. And the barn was so beautiful. And it was really bright. So I'm thinking someday I might do that barn. But I'm not really interested in doing like the bottom area. And then the companion piece to this one is the blueberry homecoming. So same idea. This one has a house instead of a barn. I think that is all the leaflets I was going to show. The last part of this video will be some patterns that I pulled from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts magazine. Yeah, I left them to the end just because, like, if you already know that you do not really care for Cross Stitch and Country Crafts, you're not going to miss anything after this portion. Yeah, because I went through the books and the leaflets. So yeah, if you really are just not interested in cross stitch and country crafts, then you can head out. But I did pull maybe like a dozen patterns from my collection just to kind of show pretty quickly. So I'm going to take a little break and then I will be back to do that. Okay, so here I am back for some cross stitch and country crafts. This one is May June 1993. And the one I'm showing is the one that is on the cover. So this is actually designed by the Cooler Design Studio, because it says down at the bottom, Nancy Rossi. And yeah, this is just a very typical style for cross stitch and country crafts. Once again, anything that has one of these cows on wheels, I really enjoy. So that's just a sweet little sampler. They show up here if you like do the cow by itself as an ornament. It's really cute. So this issue is from March, April 93. And the one I was going to show is this one. It's called the Salt Glaze Sampler. The part that I love about this one is the top band here with all the crockery. There's a lot of really nice detail in there. So very cute. Once again, I'm only showing like a selection rather than the entire magazine, because then we would just be here all day. This is November, December 86. So this one's getting back there. And here's the one I picked. The colors in this one are really, really pretty. So a country kitchen style again. And there's even like a little horse. And I don't think it says who designed it. Yeah, usually in the cross stitch and country crafts, they don't really specify individual designers. I mean, sometimes they do, but I've noticed that not always. This is a newer one from March, April 95. And the one I picked out here is a rooster, and this was part of a series. I think there were 3 of them. But anyway, this one is called the Imperial Rooster. And this rooster has a lot of personality. I feel like that's probably not the best picture of it ever, but you get the idea. And then it says the designer is Linda Gordanier Jerry. So that was one of the roosters, and again, that was March, April 95. And then here's a second one, May, June 95. So it looks like these were released in a row. And I have 2 of them. I feel like there might be another one, but I don't have that one. This one is called the Majestic Rooster. So roosters with some attitude. Yeah, and like later on, in some of the later issues of Cross Stitch and Country Crafts, they start doing like the full color patterns. In the earlier ones, they don't really do that. In the earlier ones, you can see it's more of this like black, white, and red. So this one is from January, February 1989. And these were another series. These are called the Nesting Hens. So they came out every month or like every 2 months in this particular year, which was 1989. So in this issue, it's this black and white rooster. But there were these other 2, September, October, November, December. Actually, these would have been 1988, and then this one is 1989. But they're really cute. That orange one up there is really cute. This is March, April 1996. And I pulled this for these ducks, which to me look like a more modern design. And I love the shading of all the yellow in the ducks. So I think it says down here the designer is Maureen McDougall. But this is a really nice design for like Easter season. This is July, August 1989. Um, the one I picked. So technically, this is a birth sampler, and it's called Waterborne Lullaby. So I just noticed this today. Like when I first looked through these magazines a year or two ago, I didn't notice this pattern. When I first saw it today, I was confused because I thought like I was like, "Oh, wow, the ducks, they came in this boat and then they hopped out and they're like swimming around." That was my first thought. But then I realized that there's actually like a baby in the boat. So that's why it's a birth sampler, but I was thinking like it would be really cute to stitch it as if that boat belongs to the ducks, and there's no baby in there. Here's like a close up of the boat. Like the arms of the boat are actually like duck faces, and then there's a duck here. So that would be very whimsical to just stitch this as if the ducks were in the boat and then they hopped out. I don't know if that's making sense, but that is what that is the thought that I had when I saw this. It's just really cute. Okay, and these ones are really fun. So this is a series July August 86, and then the other ones are from March, April, and May, June 86. But they are cats with baskets and quilts. This one is like the orange tabby, but you can see there's other ones in the series. And I think these ones were quite popular when they came out. They've probably been stitched a lot. Here's a bigger picture of the black and white tuxedo cat. And then here is the Siamese. So those would be really fun to stitch all three of them. But yeah, you would have to get like all the magazines. May, June 86, March, April 86, and July, August 86. May, June 86 had a couple of other ones that I flagged. Let me see. Oh yeah, there was this one. Trying not to have like a bunch of glare on this. So that's a cute farm. That's a really colorful kind of block stitching type farm. I love the animals. Oh, and then down here it shows like some of the components arranged differently. Okay, I showed you the cat already. This one is really cute. God knew we needed big hands to hold, and so he made us dads. So you have the lambs, and then you have the male ram with the horns. So that's really sweet. All right, this one is January, February 1990. And again, this is another one that was a series. You can see the full picture of it here. In this issue, they include the bottom part. But it's called Homage to the Farm. Here's a bigger picture of what the bottom looks like. And then the middle of it with the pumpkins is in a different issue, November, December 1989. And here are the pumpkins. And then the top part of it is in the September, October 89. And here's what that looks like. This band is probably my favorite of all the three bands because it has all the animals in it. It's got cows, sheep, ducks, chickens. Yeah, I would probably just do this part by itself. And I really do love the colors in this and the general style. So I think you're getting the idea of cross stitch and country crafts. If you haven't seen this magazine before, you're not familiar with it, they do a lot of like those series where you have to have multiple issues. Not always. I mean, there's a lot of standalone stuff as well, but this one is December 1992. And I picked this sampler out of here. It's called Autumn Blessings, designed by Diane Brakefield. And I think technically this would be like a Thanksgiving holiday theme. However, there's a lot of different components you could stitch separately. And the colors in this are just a beautiful autumn palette. You do have the barn up there. And I love these pumpkins and the autumn vegetables. You could do those separately. This one I'm going to show in here is a really big one. Actually, let me show you. Okay, so this one's May, June 87. This is another one that's part of a series. And then, yeah, it's in a few different issues. July, August 87. But I'll show you like the full picture of it, which is this. Well, it's so big you can't even see the whole thing in the frame. But it's a really, really detailed farm. And then here's the other side. This would just be a massive undertaking. It is beautiful, but it is huge. Yeah, if I would probably just stitch this side of it by itself and maybe just like leave off the bottom part because I'm not as interested in stitching the people. But these colors are really, really beautiful. So in this one, it looks like the middle portion is included. July, August 87. And then May, June 87 is like one of the other parts. The part with the barn. Yeah. So just another one of those series. This one is July, August 92. And I pulled this pig out. There's actually a bunch of different animals. Again, they are in separate issues. March, April 92, May, June 92, and then this one, which is July, August 92. So this is the pig. These look very convincing to me. Like they're cute, but they also look very realistic. I think the pig might be my favorite out of the three. But anyway, here is a larger picture of the cow in a different issue. And then here is the sheep. So very cute. They would be a lot of stitching, but they're very cute. Kind of along those lines, here's some farm animals from the March-April 1991 issue. So they're called the Gentle Menagerie, and they are stacked, as you see here: cow, goat, pig, goose, and rabbit. So there's just a lot of really fun details in this one, and I love all those flowers. This is from the November-December 1985 issue. This one's pretty old. But this was just something a little different. It's basically the shapes of farm animals, and the cross stitch patterns are all sort of like quilted style, like quilt block designs. So they just make cute little ornaments. And then this one I'm going to show you now, I absolutely love. This is from the September-October 1987 issue. And basically, it is these beautiful silhouette animals. And you can do them all like in a big square, like they show in the pillow. They also show it arranged more like a band sampler up here. And yeah, just a lot of versatility with this because it's monochromatic, so you could like use a really beautiful variegated floss to do these. Yeah, I would be very tempted to do these roosters and chickens in this block, because for some reason I just think those are really cute. But to be honest, I like all of these. And yeah, I checked the magazine. They're all included in this issue. It's not one where you have to get multiple issues. So yeah, this is September, October 1987. And I think that is about it for the things I pulled from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. I hope that was, I don't know, interesting to some of you. I guess I'll leave you by just showing this kit that I found thrifting. I think it was probably like last week. I found this one really recently. It's called the Santa's Truck Stocking by Dimensions. And I was just really excited to find it. I mean, I'm not usually into the whole like red truck thing, but if it's Santa's truck, then I can get on board with that. And I think this is really pretty. And it just fit in with the farm theme that I had going for today. And now that I've talked your ear off, I'm going to sign off. But thanks if you made it to the end of this flip through, and I hope you found something to inspire you for your own stitching. I know that for me, I definitely found several patterns going through these magazines again, which was a lot of fun for me. So yeah, and I guess I will just catch you in my next regular floss tube, which should be in a couple weeks. All right, happy stitching. Bye.